I had been working on a project that was going to be a dual biography of Golda Meir and Henry Kissinger, leading up to their interactions and confrontations during the Yom Kippur War of 1973. And sort of the presiding question over it had been, do Jews do politics differently? And in the process of it, I've sort of discovered no. The answer was no, and did not want to go forward with the project because I didn't feel like I was really saying anything. And so, after years of putting this pretty significant effort into it, I had no project and I had no way to go forward. Um, and Simultaneously, I was in my on the backside of 30, and teaching religion classes for a long time at that point, and standing in front of students, sort of explaining to them how often religion is really just the crassest excuse to support racism and sexism and sexual phobia and nationalism. And I started sort of to ask myself, why are we teaching these kids this? What's the point of this? So I had both. Came to a kind of a crisis. Is any of this actually worth imparting? Is any of this actually worth talking about? Um, and it was personal in the sense that this is what I was doing for a living. And then and other things about life interrupted. So I really started to wonder about the care of the soul. Like, I've been reading about, I guess, supposedly the care of the soul for a long period of time, and needed some help myself. And I guess the breakthrough came when I realized that so many spiritual confessions that I was utterly familiar with for so long had actually been the result of somebody who had been in the same position. In other words, somebody had had a personal freak out in their own lives. And because religion had been the forum where one would turn to straighten out their lives or to become oriented in the times that they were writing, they had turned to religion. And because in the cases of many of the confessions, because they were geniuses, they were able to write down what had happened, the process of coming to spirituality, and how they managed to get themselves through the crisis, and impart it to traditions that then they became part of the canon. So I had this kind of a realization that religion had been the forum for therapy before there was modern therapy. And so then I started to ask myself, well, did they do it differently than modern therapy? And that became the project. So on the one hand, I wanted to explore that kind of academically, to really compare and contrast. Were traditional forms of therapy different than modern ones? And on the other hand, I wanted to also capture the spirit of spiritual adventure that had been so articulated in all of the confessions that I had come across, or so many of them. So I wanted to impart that to the reader as well. And actually, frankly, I wanted to impart it to myself. So that became this project to sort of look through these classic confessions from across the globe, from different times and locations, to try to find those mechanisms of therapy and to see if there is any validity to them in the present. And that's what the book became, Making Peace with the Universe.